Welcome to Art Smart OC on Real Orange. I'm Maria Hall Brown. In an interview with RKO Radio in December 1980, John Lennon said, "I've always considered my work one piece, and I consider that my work won't be finished until I am dead and buried, and I hope that's a long, long time." Sadly, it wasn't. But the richness and legacy of the man continues on. Local resident John Borak felt so strongly about it, he put together a book, John Lennon, Life is What Happens. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, and you even have a Beatles tie on.
I do. I dressed for the occasion.
You are thematically focused here. You are a Beatles collector.
Yes.
I would imagine that perhaps even the whole thing started with just your collection versus the idea that you wanted to put together a book.
Well, the whole thing started when I was 5, when my father bought me my first Beatles record back in 1967, and just kind of took off from there. Loved the Beatles, loved their music, their style, everything about them was just incredible, and kind of went from there.
But Daddy wasn't a big John Lennon fan.
Not at all, no, and I discussed that in the book in the foreword, but he did kind of come around towards the end, and we kind of made peace with each other on our Beatles arguments that we had, yeah.
Well, I have to be honest with you, when I brought the book home to take a look at it, the first thing my husband says, "Who gets that?" Because it's really, really cool. So I want to show people a little bit about it. Not only is it a beautiful coffee table book, but it is just filled with all kinds of images and stories and quotes and things like that. I am amazed that you were actually able to garner all of these. Going through the rights and credits for something like this must have been a trial, if not.
Yeah, luckily the publishers were able to get a lot of clearances for photos, contacted some of the photographers who worked with the Beatles directly, and were able to get a lot of the images licensed from them, and just kind of set that to my text, and it was, I'm really happy with how it turned out, very happy.
You must have been thrilled. Were there things in here that you finally got to see firsthand that you had just read about prior to this time?
Well, there were a lot of photos that I had never seen before that are extremely rare, which is one of the great points about the book, I feel. And just a lot of memorabilia from back in the 60s that was considered junk back then, but hopefully your parents didn't throw it away if you had it, because it's worth thousands and thousands of dollars now.
Oh yeah, and even just some of the stories. Of course, Ed Arnold would have already known this because he already had a relationship with Elvis Presley. But I had no idea that the Beatles were so excited about meeting Elvis Presley.
Oh, back in 1965, they met him at a mansion here in L.A., and it was like two kings meeting princes. It was just pretty amazing, and they were in awe of each other and didn't speak. And Elvis finally looked at him and said, "If you boys are just going to sit there all night, I'm going to bed."
That was really fun, and lots and lots and lots of stories like this. Putting together a book that is basically chronological, but also has a lot of segues off here and there. Was it almost impossible to try to garner all of this information into these 250 pages?
It was difficult trying to squeeze everything in because John Lennon was so multifaceted. He was not only a singer and songwriter, but an artist, advocate for peace, and just did so much within 40 years. It was hard to get it all in there, but we were able to do it, luckily.
And I also didn't know that John and Yoko were just buds before they became romantic.
Yeah, John was always interested in art, and that's how he first met Yoko, was at an art gallery in London back in '66, and they kind of had a friendship before they became romantically involved a couple of years after that.
And people can get the book almost anywhere.
Yes, you can find it on Amazon.com, or you can get it at Borders, Barnes & Noble's, other bookstores. It's available everywhere.
And on the list of things that I just don't know why I don't know, since I've been sitting in this chair for so many years, you're having a book signing at a Beatles albums focused store?
It's a Beatles-themed store called Pepperland Music in the city of Orange. That'll be on December 4th at 12 noon. We'll be signing books, and a gentleman named Alan Bernhoft, who plays John Lennon in a Beatles tribute band, will be joining us to sing a few John Lennon songs as well, so it should be a fun time.
That's a good point. When you put a book like this out, do you become terrified of all of the people who are so passionate about John Lennon and the Beatles and everything that they're going to come after you and say, "You forgot, you didn't"?
I was a little bit worried at first. Luckily that hasn't happened yet, but I am going to a Beatles convention back in Connecticut Thanksgiving weekend, so hopefully I didn't get anything wrong, because I'm sure I'll hear about it if something is wrong. But yeah, Beatles fans are passionate, and I'm looking forward to meeting them. It should be nice.
Very cool. Well, it's a gorgeous book, and you should be very proud of yourself, John.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much. And that is a wrap on Art Smart OC. Whenever you're looking for information on arts and culture events happening in Orange County, you can find it on sparkoc.com.